Garage Grubbers, welcome back. Hope you're well this fine day. I had a problem, but it may not be irresolvable. I had planned to make beef jerky. Now I know this doesn't look like beef jerky, but it will become beef jerky. It's thinly sliced, bottom round beef. A couple bicyclists, that's a good thing. In marinade. Now I meant to marinate it for 24 hours, but I forgot about it. And it's been in there 3 days. I think it's gonna be okay, but I really don't know because I've never made beef jerky in the air fryer, which is what we're going to do after it's marinated for 3 days. I think it's gonna be okay, but I just wanted to have full disclosure before we got into this. It's a lot of fun to make. It's a hell of a mess. You're gonna go through half a roll of paper towels. But when you finish it, I'm telling you, this beef jerky, it's gonna put Jack Link's right out of business. Maybe not. I think they're a little bit more, I think they're more better established than I am. But in any event, it's gonna be fantastic. But I just wanted to let you know that normally I marinate for 24 hours and it's been 3 days. So we'll see what happens. I think it's gonna be pretty good. More on that later. Hi Grubbers, we're back. It's been a few hours. Obviously it's dark, and when we talked earlier about the problem I have with the meat and my lack of planning, we're back in the garage, and we're going to do the hardest part of making this incredible beef jerky, and that's the prep. You know, if you think back when you were in elementary school, my memory can just about get me there. I remember finger painting. And finger painting was, you know, initially it was kind of like disgusting, horrible. Once you got into it, it was a blast. You put your fingers in the paint, you smeared it all over the paper, and you know, probably ate some, whatever. Well, it's kind of what we're gonna do. It's kind of like what we're gonna do. Our paint is marinade. And frankly, there's no easy way to do what we're gonna do. You gotta get your hands in there, because if you think you're gonna use, you know, one of these things, you'll be here till next week, trust me. Because you have to take probably 30 or 40 very thinly cut pieces of bottom round beef that's been marinating in sticky, slimy marinade, and you have to flatten them out and lay them on a paper towel. Each one has to be done. So I will not take you through the tedium of doing that, but I'll show you the basics. And so it's time to get messy, and you better have a lot of paper towels, probably half a roll by the time you're done. So let's get to work. A couple notes first off that are very important. This is 1 pound of bottom round beef. You want to use a lean meat. Bottom round is very lean, it's very tough. You'd never go to a fine steakhouse and say, can I have a bottom round medium rare? First of all, they wouldn't have it. If they did, you wouldn't be able to eat it. It'd be like beef jerky, but raw, not good. So I buy what's called at Walmart sizzler meat, and sizzler meat is just thinly sliced. It's probably 1/8 of an inch slice thick, and it's wonderful. It's bottom round, it's uniformly sliced, again thin, and so it's great to work with. They also have fajita meat. You see that? Similar, but it's probably 1/4 of an inch thick. So if you like a thicker beef jerky, fajita meat's fine. All of it's lean, and that's the key. You'd never make beef jerky out of ribeye. No, it's just too much fat. It's too much fat. So this is 1 pound. As you well know, it's been marinating for more than 24 hours. I think it's fine because, and here's why. All marinades have 3 ingredients. They have sugar, they have salt, and they have acid. If you have a marinade that doesn't have those three, it's not a marinade, okay? It's not gonna work. So this marinade, because it has salt and acid, it's kind of like a preservative. So we could, in fact, it's been in the bag for a few days in the fridge, it's fine. I'm sure it'll be fine. So the other comment I would make on marinades, you can buy the powdered packets, where you add your liquids. Grill Mates makes all kinds of flavors. I've used their mesquite. I've used their brown sugar bourbon. They're both really good. They're saltier than I like, but the point is they're powdered. They have the sugar and they have the salt, and then you add the liquids. This is my preference. This is my preference for teriyaki. I call it a smoked teriyaki because I added a little liquid smoke. We could talk about that in a little bit. The point is, this is a bottle. It's Walmart's teriyaki garlic. It just comes in a bottle. And I took half a bottle and I poured it in this bag, and I took the pound of meat, I separated it, and I put it in the bag as well. And I mixed it up real well, squeezed out the air, put it in the fridge 3 days ago. So there's a lot of ways to do this. The bottom line is you need a decent marinade. You need to give it some time to do its magic. And then you gotta lay it out on a paper towel because you wanna remove most of the moisture. And that's the hardest part of this recipe because it just takes time. The actual drying episode, which we'll do in our trusty air fryer, only takes a little over an hour. So we'll be doing that shortly after we make a mess. One other thing, we're not cooking the meat, okay? Beef jerky is dried meat. Could be turkey, could be chicken, could be beef, could be, I don't know what else it's dried. Fish. It's dried. So we're not going to cook this, and that's why when we dry it in the air fryer, we're going to have it on about 160, low temp. It's just drying it. It's not going to cook the meat. Very important to realize that, and that's why it comes up in a texture that you can actually eat. If you cooked this right now, it'd be hard to eat. It'd be really chewy. So enough talk. Let's get to work. So we're gonna get messy, real messy here, but we got a lot of paper towels to keep things going. I was talking to my dear wife about finger painting, and she said, no, I actually don't think you were finger painting. I think you were being fingerprinted. She's a very funny person. So what we're gonna do is no way to not do this. So you just reach in, grab a piece of meat, and you just lay it on a paper towel. And believe me, you're not going to see much of this because I'm already bored. Again, what we're doing here is we are getting as much of the moisture out of the meat as we possibly can, because if you want to dry something, don't you want to start with the driest possible condition you can before you start to dry? So yeah, there's no way around it. It's not bad. It's cool. It's kind of nice. It smells really nice. This is the smoked teriyaki. And so that's what we're going to do. I'm going to come back in a moment. How I'm going to turn the camera off, I have no idea at this point. But we're going to come back in a moment, and we're going to fill this tray, one layer. We're going to lay more paper towels on top, and we're going to do it again. And in the end, we're going to have probably 3 layers, and we're going to have 1. Okay, we've got layer 1 going. And we might only end up with 2, which is good. So what we're going to do now, you can see all the moisture. We're going to put another paper towel on here. In fact, I'm going to put 2 down. And we're just going to give it a good smushing. Okay, and that's good enough for now, because we're going to layer this one again. Okay, so you see what I mean about paper towels? We got a lot of paper towels. So I'm not going to, because every time I stop the camera, I got to take a shower, so I'm gonna not show you the next layer, but you'll get the effect when I come back. So halfway through, I got an itch in my ear, and so I, not thinking now I have teriyaki juice in my ear. It's just great. And we're finished, and it was only 2 layers. You can see how thin this is. I would say that's 1/8 of an inch. So on we go. with another paper towel, and then we're gonna get a couple more. I've done this part and just put it in the fridge overnight and let nature and gravity take its course, and that's fine. But given that this is already, 3 days in, we don't want ptomaine here, I don't think. So this is an empty bag of marinade. You're gonna pitch that. Don't go in and make a steak with it, because I'm not sure what's going on with that stuff at this point. So we're just gonna pat it as dry as we can get it here. I mean, that's the hardest part of this whole recipe. And as we peel it away, I didn't know I'd put that many layers on. Look at that. Looks like smashed meat, and that's what you want. And that will then be going directly into the air fryer, and we'll start the drying process. So you can see here, when you consider the size of our drawer, that this is gonna barely fit. So obviously I've got an evening of a couple hours of drying beef jerky to get this complete, but that's fine. Hey, Sunday night, what else am I gonna do? Oh, and when you're working in a garage and you don't have a real kitchen, you got to be really innovative. So what I do is I take the used paper towels and I wad them up and I put them in my marinade bag. And then when I'm finished, I'm just gonna zip this up and I'm gonna pitch it in the garbage. You see, you got to be innovative when you work out of a garage. Okay, I'm not sure if this is step 2 or step 3, but this is the step where we load the bin. And the only thing I would say here is just make sure that you don't stack. Don't stack. And I'm gonna do my favorite thing, of course. How could I even begin to forget? Just a little oil. The marinade already has a little oil in it, so that's not paramount. Believe me, it won't stick. So the key is to just lay your beef in, lay the strips in uniformly. Don't overlap. They can touch, because what's going to happen, obviously, is because there's a lot of water here that's going to leave. In fact, about 50% of this is water. It's going to shrink about 50%, so it's going to pull away from the sides. So you'll be fine, but don't stack. Don't stack. And that's all we're doing here. So you can watch me, or you can, go for a walk or something. But I'm going to give you one layer to show you kind of the process. See, we're already running out of room here. I think I'm going to put this one here. Now you can overlap a little bit because it will shrink away quickly. And I think I'm going to try to get all these in here because I only have 2 more, and I'm going to push it. I'm going to put this guy up on the edge a little bit because it'll work out. It'll work out. Beautiful, beautiful. And that's how it should look. It's not dry, but it's not wet. See, it's not wet. It's moist. Okay, but it's not dripping wet, and that's the whole game with the paper towels. With the air fryer at 160. Check here, that was on 400 earlier. So my air dryer about 160. I'm going to put it on 30 minutes. Jeez, I need my flashlight to see this. You see, this is a very 30 minutes. Bingo. Okay, we're on 30 minutes, and it's just drying. And then what we're going to do is come back. We're going to flip it, and we're going to put it another 30 minutes. Okay, and then we're going to come back and we're going to look at it. And if that's the way you like your jerky, it might be a little moister and chewier, fine. If you don't, add another 15, add another 20. I like to push it a little bit further because I like my beef jerky where you bend it and it actually snaps a little bit, and then you kind of tear it. So that takes a little bit longer than an hour. We shall return. Well, there's that magical sound. So let's see how we're doing. See, we're looking pretty good. So that's been 30 minutes at 160 in the air fryer. We're gonna flip them and we're gonna do it again. And it's funny, you wonder why I'm reaching into this with my bare hands, but we're not cooking the meat. It's not that hot. So you can literally flip these with your hand. And I think I just flipped the whole thing. I mean, wow, that's tough. Okay, that's tough. So it's coming along really nicely. And we're gonna give it another 30 minutes and we'll be back. Well, welcome back, grubbers. It's not Sunday night anymore. In fact, I ran completely out of gas and I became exhausted making all the beef jerky. So I just quit. Now, I didn't quit. I mean, I finished it, but I just left it. And, you know, overnight, just sitting here, it's not like it can dry out or anything. And I have to say it came out fantastically. This is one piece of many. It's my favorite of all the varieties I've tried. I like the teriyaki. I like the little sweet, and I love the color. If you can see this, it looks like it's like almost like a lacquered bark. It's got a sheen to it, kind of a frosty sheen, but of course, more importantly, oh, it's fantastic. Slightly moist, terrific flavor, and I don't know what to say other than it's just outstanding beef jerky. See, if you got an air fryer and you got a store that sells meat, whether you slice it yourself thin, or they do it for you, or it comes pre-packaged, which is typically the standard now, bottom round, any kind of lean steak, get some teriyaki, put it in a bag overnight, bring it out. You saw how we had to get the moisture out, get in that air fryer, and that's some fun. Everybody likes beef jerky. That's just outstanding. So, grubbers, thanks. It's always nice to have you here working with me in the garage, and I'll welcome you back soon. We'll come up with something else to cook out here. Adios.